Israeli forces raided Kamal Adwan Hospital in northern Gaza late the 28th of December 2024, arresting Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya, the hospital's director, along with over 240 others in a controversial operation that has sparked international outrage. The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, claimed that the hospital, one of the last functioning health facilities in northern Gaza, was being used by Hamas as a command center. According to the IDF, the raid was part of an ongoing effort to dismantle Hamas's infrastructure in Gaza. The hospital was evacuated during the operation, which saw patients, medical staff, and other individuals forcibly removed from the premises, some subjected to harsh treatment, including forced strip searches.
They told him, Hussam Abu Safiya, director of Kamal Adwan, that you and the medical staff who were with you and all those with you in the hospital, including the displaced, the sick, and the injured, should surrender themselves. We went down and surrendered ourselves, and they said that we should take off our clothes and stay in our underwear, and we should not wear our clothes, and we took off our clothes and stayed in our underpants. We went out around 7:30 a.m. to the checkpoint. The area of checkpoint is 2 to 3 hours away from the hospital.
Dr. Abu Safiya, a vocal critic of Israeli military actions, was arrested under suspicion of being a Hamas operative, although no concrete evidence has been presented by the IDF to support these claims. The director, whose son Ibrahim was killed in an Israeli drone strike at the hospital's entrance in October, had been outspoken in his calls for international intervention to protect Gaza's healthcare system. Despite his personal tragedy, Dr. Abu Safiya continued his work at the hospital, even sustaining injuries from a separate attack. The arrest of Dr. Abu Safiya has drawn significant attention, with human rights groups and medical organizations condemning the move. MedGlobal, a humanitarian organization, called for his immediate release, arguing that his arrest violates international humanitarian law, which affords medical personnel protection in conflict zones. Other groups, including the World Health Organization, WHO, expressed alarm at the broader implications of the raid for Gaza's medical infrastructure, which has been systematically targeted in recent weeks. The hospital itself has borne the brunt of IDF operations in recent months. Following an initial raid in October 2024, parts of the facility were set on fire and its entrances destroyed, leaving the hospital in a state of disrepair. In the December raid, the IDF evacuated around 350 individuals from the premises, including 75 patients who were transferred to other hospitals under difficult conditions. According to the IDF, weapons such as handguns and grenades were confiscated during the operation, and over 240 individuals were arrested on suspicion of links to Hamas. The IDF also claimed that some of those detained were involved in the October 7, 2023 attack on Israel, though these claims remain unverified.
The IDF have this afternoon released details of the action in Jabalia. Intelligence showed attempts by terrorists to flee, to deploy deception tactics and ambushes in the Jabalia area. The IDF identified and eliminated multiple terrorists in the area overnight. Now, this op follows the targeted action taken against Hamas, the Hamas command and control center embedded inside the Kamal Adwan Hospital over the weekend. Again, dastardly activity from Hamas. But during this operation, we have apprehended 240 terrorists.
However, local health officials, as well as Hamas, have vehemently denied that the hospital was being used by militants. In the aftermath of the raid, there have been conflicting reports regarding casualties. The IDF stated that 19 militants were killed, while Hamas-run health authorities reported that as many as 50 people, including hospital staff, lost their lives in the raid. The raid has raised concerns about the increasing disruption of essential services in Gaza, where hospitals are already operating under extreme pressure due to the ongoing conflict. The WHO condemned the IDF's actions, warning that the destruction of medical facilities poses a grave threat to the lives of Palestinians in the region who are in dire need of healthcare amid the ongoing violence.
We continue to call on all parties to comply with their obligation to respect and protect in all circumstances medical personnel and medical units, including hospitals and health facilities. Kamal Adwan is one of the last, if not the last, hospitals that was operating in this part of Gaza. Sick and injured children are going into this hospital. We're going into this hospital to get treatment. Sick and injured men, women were also going there with medical personnel, risking their lives in some cases to continue to provide services to people who really need it. And this is why we continue to call for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. We continue to call for the protection of all medical facilities in Gaza.
International bodies, including the United Nations, have called for an investigation into the raid, highlighting the potential violations of international law concerning the protection of medical facilities and personnel during armed conflict. Human rights advocates have expressed alarm at the broader humanitarian consequences of these military actions, which they argue exacerbate the already dire conditions in Gaza. As Dr. Abu Safiya's whereabouts remain unclear, his arrest has become a focal point in the ongoing debate about the protection of medical professionals in conflict zones and the use of hospitals as military targets. The international community continues to monitor the situation closely, calling for the immediate release of Dr. Abu Safiya and other detained individuals.